Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Legends Look Back. I'm your host, Sid Rosenberg. Each time on Legends Look Back, I sit down with an iconic athlete and discuss their most vivid memories from their days on the field. Today, I'm joined by a guy that I believe is the best center in the history of the game. No disrespect to the late, great Mike Webster, but as far as I'm concerned, former Miami Dolphin Dwight Stephenson, Hall of Famer, is as good as it got, and here he is today. Good afternoon, Dwight. How are you, pal?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, we're taking a look back at all the great Super Bowls, and I'd like to say, Dwight, that we can talk about a couple that you won, but I think just to make it there is a big deal. You made it to two of them, Super Bowl 17 against the Washington Redskins and Super Bowl 19 against the San Francisco 49ers. Let's go back to your first one, Super Bowl 17. The late David Woodley is the quarterback for your football team, Joe Theismann for the Redskins, and I guess on that day, Dwight Stephenson, John Riggins was a bit too much for your Dolphin defense.
That is about the way it worked out. I tell you, that day we went out there, I felt as though we were a good football team. I mean, we weren't necessarily overly flashy, but we'd found a way to win. I mean, David Woodley, like you mentioned, a great guy, and a quarterback that did what it took to win in the game. I mean, if he had to run the ball, you know, he'd run the ball. If he had to come back and throw the ball, scramble, did a lot of things to help us win and stuff. And God bless his soul. But you know. And I felt good about our chances to win the football game. And then during the course of the game, I mean, up until like halftime, I felt good about our chances to win the game still. But then in that second half, I mean, Riggins seemed to heat up the diesel or whatnot. They got to really going that day, and it turned out to be a little too much for us.
You had a couple of big plays in that game, if I remember correctly. Jimmy Cephalo had a long touchdown catch. Fulton Walker had a touchdown on a kick. But it just seems like they were able to grind it out with Riggins and never really gave your offense any real playing time.
You're right. You know, I tell you what, it came down to, you know, they ran the ball, and that's what they did. They took control of the game and stuff doing that with Riggins, and the big old offensive line started wearing us down a little bit on defense. And then on our offense and whatnot, I mean, we didn't get much done in that second quarter there. But like you said, it mentioned, you know, we had Cephalo that hit a nice touchdown, a long touchdown catch. Fulton Walker ran back like a 95 or 99-yard touchdown return on a kickoff return. Then we also had a chance right there at Kim Bokamp, and I'm sure he don't like to hear about this, but he almost had a chance at an interception, and it was right down near the goal line. But Joe Theismann came up with a heads-up play and, you know, deflected the ball or stripped Kim Bokamp of the ball, and but that play would have changed probably the whole course of the game, I felt, because they would not have been able to just run the football. They would have had to throw the football. And I felt as though, you know, at that point, it would have been a different game. And I would like to think that we could have won the game.
Yeah, I know. Kim Bokamp still takes a lot of abuse down in Miami. Even fans that know what a good player he was for the Dolphins beat him up about that, almost like when Ernest Biner fumbled for the Cleveland Browns. He takes that type of abuse.
Yeah. But I tell you, it was just a great play. And like I said, Kim, that was just an opportunity that we had there in the game. Theismann went to play defense all of a sudden, just changed over and made a terrific play and stripped us of the football there. But Kim Bokamp, during the course of the game, played great. Just that one opportunity there, it didn't work out for us.
All right, let's move on to your second Super Bowl again. We're talking to a Hall of Fame center, in my opinion, the greatest center in the history of the game, former Miami Dolphin Dwight Stephenson. You get back in Super Bowl 19, and it's not David Woodley. Now it's Dan Marino, and this is going to be Dan Marino against Joe Montana. This is going to be a high-scoring affair. I think the 49ers had won just one Super Bowl before the game against you. They had defeated Forrest Gregg and the Cincinnati Bengals in 1982. So this was before Jerry Rice, before their wins, you know, against the Denver Broncos and the Bengals for the second time. So people weren't sure just how good Montana and the 49ers were. But you found out that day, Dwight, didn't you?
Tell you what, they came on the field and they pretty much didn't look back. I mean, we were looking for it to be a high-scoring game. I thought it might be. And what happened was we got off to a good start. I mean, we scored when we first got the ball, and then they scored. And then I think we scored the second time. Maybe we kicked the field goal or some kind of way we scored. But they scored, I think, every time they got the football. And but at that time, I felt as though they had one of the best football players in the game, and that was Roger Craig. I mean, he did everything well that year. He caught the ball, he ran the ball, he blocked well, and on our offense and whatnot. I mean, we were able to score some points, but then when we fell behind, I mean, we just you know, and all they did was rush the passer and just disregarded our run offense 100% just about. They just pulled their ears back and whatnot, was able to rush the pass and be effective, and they did not have a good day.
Yeah, I know that there's a story about Marino after the game saying, we'll get back here. And, of course, maybe the biggest shock of all. And I talked to Roger Craig about this. Roger Craig is a teammate here of ours as well at opensports.com and had 3 touchdowns in that Super Bowl against you. Joe Montana did win the MVP, but like you said, Roger Craig was the best player that day. But Craig was saying it, too, that it's amazing that Dan Marino would never get another chance after that Super Bowl with you.
And I think that was what everybody was so surprised at. And I tell you what, after that game, doing that, that time, I think we all felt as though as a team that we'd probably get back there with some pretty good certainty within, and maybe next year or the year after that and whatnot, but we would be back in the Super Bowl. Of course, Dan, we felt as though he would be back there, but we never got the chance. Dan did come later on in the career, maybe like I think it was 1992, I think it was, maybe 93 playoff. But he came one game from going to the Super Bowl, and I think the Buffalo Bills beat us down here in South Florida.
Yeah, and that was the year that most people thought Miami was going to win that, and the Bills did get to win that year, and they moved on to play in the Super Bowl. But just an amazing story, and you were there, for the Marino, the Montana, and Montana would go on to win 2 more, and that would be all for Dan Marino. And really, Dwight, that's the last time the Dolphins got back to the Super Bowl at all. You're talking about almost, 25 years? Yeah,
I tell you, it's been a real slump for us and stuff. Here as a team and stuff, of course, when you're the Miami Dolphins and all the success that the Dolphins have had in the years, they're with Coach Shula and playing in the Super Bowl, the undefeated team, that special team that was there. And then, like I said, Coach Shula going back to the Super Bowl 2 more times while I was here and stuff. I think, everybody is 25 years without the Miami Dolphins being in the Super Bowl or whatnot. How many ever years it's been? I don't think anybody really anticipated that, but it goes to show you how good Coach Shula and his coaching staff was and that sort of thing, and the teams were. They put a winning team on the field on the field just every year, if not, just about every year, if not every year and stuff. So.
No, they did a terrific job, no doubt about it. And, of course, Don Shula, to this day, still the winningest coach in the history of the game. Again, the greatest center to ever play the game, Hall of Fame, Miami Dolphin player, Dwight Stephenson. Dwight, I want to thank you a lot for stopping by here today.
You got it. Good to talk to you.
All right, so the little trip down memory lane with Dwight Stephenson, discussing his career with the Miami Dolphins and playing in both Super Bowl 17, a loss to the Washington Redskins, and Super Bowl 19, a loss to Joe Montana, Roger Craig, and the San Francisco 49ers. That'll do it for this edition. But don't forget, folks, make sure you tune in each and every day to opensports.com, where the future of sports on the web is open. We'll see you next time.
Think you can complete the drive? Play today and get an automatic entry to win daily prizes, 2 tickets to the big game, and a brand new car. Start your drive today at opensports.com.